A look at a man whose allegations have been shaking Turkish politics. Sedat Peker, a convicted organized crime boss now living in exile in Dubai.
Öyle ya, sen benim dönüş biletimsin. Sen benim bütün bahislerimi üzerinde oynadın.
From a quiet room in Dubai, Sedat Peker presses record and starts naming names. Within days, millions are watching. Within weeks, the target is clear: one of Turkey's most powerful men, Süleyman Soylu. Who is Sedat Peker? This didn't start in Dubai. It started years earlier, inside Turkey's shadow world, where crime, politics, and loyalty blur into one. For decades, Sedat Peker wasn't hiding from power. He was part of its ecosystem, a convicted mafia figure who didn't just survive prison, he built influence through it. Born in 1971, Peker was no ordinary criminal. From the late 1990s onward, he was convicted of running an organized crime network, fraud, extortion, threats. In 2007, he received a 14-year sentence, later reduced to 10. He served time, he fled, he returned. And each time, he came back with more connections than before. What set him apart wasn't just crime, it was proximity to power. Through the 2010s, he openly supported Recep Tayyip Erdogan, threatening critics and positioning himself as an unofficial enforcer of nationalist politics. In 2014, his Ergenekon conviction was overturned. He walked free and stayed close to the system. Close enough to see how it really worked. Then, in 2019, everything changed. Peker fled again, through the Balkans, then Morocco, ending up in Dubai. He claimed an investigation was coming, but the real question wasn't why he ran, it was, who told him to. Section 2, Soylu and the Alliance. Süleyman Soylu. Interior Minister of Turkey from 2016 to 2023, among ultra-nationalists, he was a titan, arguably the second most powerful man in the country. Feared, beloved by the nationalist base. Backed by MHP leader Devlet Bahçeli's coalition muscle. A man who purged thousands after the 2016 coup attempt and built an empire of loyalty within Turkey's police and intelligence structures. Peker and Soylu were not enemies, they were allies. And Peker had evidence. According to Peker, and this is an allegation, not a proven fact, Soylu had been his personal guarantor. His return ticket to Turkey, as Peker repeatedly stated. Peker alleged that Soylu had promised to neutralize the court cases against him, arrange a safe return, and protect him from prosecution. In exchange, Peker had provided services, the kind governments don't acknowledge in writing. But Peker also alleged something more explosive, that Soylu himself had warned him of the incoming arrest warrant in 2020, giving him the window to flee, that Soylu had arranged police protection for him through Istanbul's governor's office back in 2015, that a pro-government journalist named Hadi Zisik served as the back channel between them, and that Hakan Fazlolu, a relative of Peker's, was the human bridge through whom Soylu and Peker communicated in real time. A parliamentary question filed by CHP MP Süleyman Blebel asked Soylu directly, why was Peker seen in a photograph at the wedding of Hakan Fazlolu, where Soylu allegedly served as marriage witness? No clear answer was ever given. The alliance held. Until it didn't, the promised return never materialized, the cases weren't dropped, and in April 2021, police raided Peker's family home. The manner of that raid, he later said, was the final insult. The humiliation of his family was the line that could not be uncrossed. On May 2, 2021, Sedat Peker pressed record. Section 3. The videos, Turkey on fire. The first video hit like a grenade. Then the second. Then the third, episode after episode, roughly 1 hour each, released to Peker's YouTube channel and amplified across Twitter, each one more watched than the last. By the seventh video, Turkey's most infamous crime boss had 14 million views on a single upload. IMDb created a page for his video series. Twitter was flooded with memes casting Peker as a Netflix showrunner. His YouTube channel became the de facto public prosecutor Turkey's own judiciary refused to be. And what did he say? He accused Süleyman Soylu of protecting drug traffickers, facilitating corruption, using state resources for personal enrichment, and turning Turkey's interior ministry into a private empire. He called Soylu Fancy Cecil, a mocking nickname that stuck, and vowed on camera to destroy him. He accused Erkam Yildirim, son of former Prime Minister Binali Yildirim, of establishing international drug routes, specifically alleging his involvement in 5 tons of cocaine seized in Colombia in June 2020 on a ship bound for Turkey. An advisor to Soylu, Peker alleged, had a car worth 1.6 million Turkish lira and a home worth 5 million lira on a monthly government salary of just 10,000 lira. He named Sag Soylu, a relative of the minister, as a shadow influence over government zoning and construction deals. He alleged that former Interior Minister Mehmet Er, a towering figure from Turkey's shadowy 1990s deep state, was complicit in the 1993 murder of prominent investigative journalist Uğur Mumcu and the 1996 killing of journalist Kutlu Adali in Cyprus. He accused Mehmet Er's son, Tolga Er, then an AKP deputy, of the rape and murder of 18-year-old Kyrgyz journalist Yeldana Kaharman in 2019, and claimed the case was buried as a suicide through Er's political connections. None of these allegations have been proven in a court of law. An investigation for terror links was launched against him. The message was unmistakable: do not ask these questions. Turkey blocked access to Peker's website. The videos stayed up. Section 4, Soylu strikes back, and loses. Soylu fought back. Publicly. Repeatedly. Badly. He gave interview after interview, appearing on primetime television to dismiss Peker's accusations as lies, fabrications, and operation against Turkey. He filed a criminal complaint against Peker, declaring he was ready for every punishment, including the death penalty if ties to the Mafia were proven. He called the claims disgusting. But every appearance deepened the wound. His prime-time television slot, in which he conspicuously failed to directly address any specific allegation, was eviscerated on social media. Peker live tweeted rebuttals in real time as Soylu spoke. The minister's remark that Peker was hiding behind his wife's underwear triggered a fierce backlash from women's rights groups. A PR catastrophe layered on a political catastrophe. Meanwhile, the opposition was relentless. CHIP leader Zerzel called Soylu the connection point between the AKP-MHP and the Mafia. Parliamentary motions piled up. Resignation demands multiplied. Even Turkey specialists invoked the ghost of the 1996 Susurluk scandal when a car crash revealed a Mafia boss, a senior police official, and an MP traveling together, calling Peker's revelations a second Susurluk, maybe even more serious. Mech chief Devlet Baheli tried to draw a line. Turkey's agenda cannot be held hostage by video recordings. Erdogan emerged to say he stood side by side with Soylu, but words were failing. The street had already decided. Section 5, The Deeper Machine, What Peker Really Exposed. Here is what makes this story larger than one Mafia boss and one minister. What Peker actually exposed was the architecture of a system, one in which organized crime, political power, state resources, and private vendettas had fused into something indistinguishable from governance itself. Behind Soylu stood the Soylu-Baheli faction, MHP-aligned figures who, after the 2016 coup, had embedded themselves throughout the Turkish state, in national intelligence, in the police, the judiciary, even the military, filling vacancies left by purged Glenists. Opposite them stood the Albayrak faction, Erdogan's son-in-law Berat Albayrak, and the Polygonist media empire behind him. Peker described himself as a pawn in a war between these two factions for dominance in a post-Erdogan Turkey neither side believed was far off. He had served the Soylu faction. Now, abandoned by it, he was burning it down from a Dubai hotel room, and the fire reached further. Investigative journalist Savary Gven later released recordings alleging that Soylu had accepted a $20 million bribe from an Iranian fraudster and from slain casino boss Halil Falil in exchange for protection from prosecution and facilitation of Turkish citizenship. Soylu denied everything, but the pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. Section 6, The Fall, Verified. June 2023. Erdogan wins re-election. His first cabinet reshuffle delivers its verdict on Süleyman Soylu, removed, replaced by Ali Yerlikaya. Within weeks, 24 senior police chiefs appointed during Soylu's tenure were purged, reassigned to passive roles, effectively exiled from relevance. In 2024, the indictment of organized crime figure Ayhan Bora Kaplan independently confirmed the existence of police minister crime rings, the very networks Peker had described 2 years earlier. In July 2024, Soylu publicly requested that his own parliamentary immunity be waived, framed as a gesture of defiance against slander. Critics called it theater. No prosecutor had filed charges. he remains in parliament to this day, shielded by full immunity. In December 2024, Soylu announced he would not seek re-election after his current term expires in 2028, not imprisoned, not prosecuted. Fading. The unanswered question. So here is the question that history refuses to answer cleanly. Did Sedat Peker, a convicted criminal, a self-confessed instrument of state violence, a man who once threatened academics with death, actually bring down Turkey's interior minister? Or did Recep Tayyip Erdogan simply discard a liability the moment he no longer needed him? Was Soylu's removal justice, or political housekeeping? And what of Peker himself? Despite an Interpol red notice, despite Turkey's extradition treaty with the way signed in July 2023, despite being the subject of multiple criminal warrants, Sedat Peker has never been arrested, never extradited. As recently as September 2025, he was alleged to be directing violent acts inside Turkey from Dubai, ordering leg shootings against rivals, untouched and unreachable. Two men, both accused of monstrous things. One sits in parliament in Ankara, the other films from a hotel room in Dubai. Neither is in prison. What Peker's videos proved is that in Turkey, and perhaps in many nations where the deep state and elected power share the same bed, exposure is not justice, it is merely pressure, and pressure, in the hands of the powerful, is simply redistributed. What the opposition couldn't do in 15 years, a mafia boss did with a tripod and a cell phone. And yet, the system endures. The only remaining question is, who is filming next? If you believe stories like this deserve to be examined, not buried, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments, because the next recording might already be uploading.